The Champions League draw has been done. Absolutely huge fixtures coming up. I'm going to talk about all of them in this video. Leave your comments down below. Give me your predictions. We're going to start off with Arsenal. It's a huge, huge test for Mikel Arteta's side. On some level, this will be the opportunity to see how far this Arsenal side have come. They've beaten Liverpool this season in the league. They've beaten Man City in the league. And they could do it at the Etihad, of course, in and around the time that they play Bayern Munich. Now, the last time they met, obviously, it was a 10-2 aggregate score when Bayern Munich knocked them out of the Champions League. That is Arsene Wenger's territory. Many, many years ago, completely different side, completely different mentality. The first tie is at home, so it's a huge opportunity for Arsenal to try and go into that game with unbelievable form, try and capitalise on the fact that Bayern Munich are a bit of an unstable ship at the moment. Their manager is going to be leaving at the end of the season. They're second in German football, 10 points behind Bayer Leverkusen. Arsenal have got an opportunity, if it's ever a season for Arsenal to beat Bayern Munich, with the form that they're in the Premier League, the amount of goals they score, how good their defence is. I think we have to talk about how good Arsenal's defence is. It's European level quality defence. It really is. David Raya has been one of the best keepers in the league. Ben White, Saliba, I think, are having world-class performances. And if the defence can be tight against Bayern Munich, against Harry Kane, which is a very, very hard ask, of course it is, very, very difficult thing to ask of any defence. But I see a world where that midfield of maybe Thomas Partey's involved, certainly Jorginho, obviously Declan Rice. If that midfield ahead of the back four for Arsenal can keep it tight until the 20 or final 20% of the second leg in the final 20 minutes. Maybe it's a 0-0 and they win 1-0 in Germany. That might be a route for Arsenal to get through this tie. Keeping it tight, keeping it boring, frustrating Bayern Munich. Lazio did that in the first leg in the round of 16. Obviously, they got knocked out, but Arsenal are far better than Lazio, of course. They're one of the best sides in Europe this season. They really are. They came out of their group with flying colours. They got past a very, very tricky Porto side. You can't look at that Porto side the game and take too much away from it. Each game in Champions League football is completely different, and the Bayern Munich game might be far more open with a lot more space for Arsenal to creep into the back line for Bayern Munich, because Bayern Munich will be expecting from their fans to be on the ball, dominating things, and that's where Arsenal can definitely chip away at the cracks in this Bayern Munich side, and there certainly are some cracks. It's a huge tie, obviously, for Harry Kane as well. This is the kind of game that he relished. Rory Jennings, the amount of times he told me that Bayern Munich would be facing Arsenal this season with Harry Kane, he was spot on. And it's a huge opportunity for Harry Kane to score big goals against Arsenal when he'd love to do it in the Champions League and knock them out. It'd be surely some of the biggest goals of his career, and he'll be looking to be sharp. He'll be looking desperately to do it against Arsenal. Leave your comments down below. If you watch this far, make sure you subscribe. Would really appreciate it. We'll talk about the other part of that leg, because if Arsenal get through, and I think they're 50-50. I think it's 50-50 split. I think maybe 51 Bayern Munich if I had to be really tight about it. But I think it's a very, very narrow kind of draw. Real Madrid, Man City. This is absolutely huge. And on some level, I can now see why the Champions League has adopted a seeding system, because it's a shame that really Real Madrid could knock Man City out, or Man City could knock Real Madrid out. You want to see Real Madrid or Man City in the final playing each other. It felt like the Champions League final last season was in the semi-final, because Inter Milan were never really in the final. Obviously, they had great chances. Lukaku missed a few, but the real final, the real moment where I think everyone in Europe knew who was really going to win the Champions League was against Real Madrid, 4-0 at home at the Etihad. And it's a shame that could happen. You know, not saying for Man City necessarily, it could happen for Real Madrid or Man City in this tie. But it's going to happen in the quarterfinals, which is a little bit early, I think, for a game of this magnitude, in my opinion. I think they're the two best sides in Europe, Man City and Real Madrid. And to do it this early would be a little bit frustrating if I was a neutral, not involved in the tie. Obviously, as a City fan, I think we're favourites. I think we've got a better squad. I think we've got more experience. But some of the players that have played against City in recent years and done really, really well, Vinicius, Rodrigo's have fantastic games. Jude Bellingham, when he was 18 years old against City for Dortmund, scored an unbelievable goal. It got completely ruled out unfairly. And he's got the ability to burst through the lines and offer something different against Man City. Man City, I think, without Bellingham, could handle this Real Madrid side. It would be very, very similar to last season, if not slightly easier because of the loss of maybe Benzema, for example. But this time, Bellingham offers a dynamic that Man City wouldn't have faced too many of, because he's an elite player, world class. There aren't many like him in world football. And he could be the difference, bursting through the lines and creating opportunities with his physicality, with his incredible quality. A bit like how Kaká used to play for AC Milan, kind of playing between the lines and run kind of vertically through the midfield, through the defensive sides, and arrive in the box and score big goals. And he could do that against Man City. I think it's going to be a very, very high-scoring game. You know, I'm going to have to be biased and say I think City are going to win, but I think it's a lot closer than you give it credit for. I'll predict the semi-finals before going on to the other side of the tournament. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let's say it's Man City Arsenal in the semi-finals. That is absolutely amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I think the odds are it's a Man City Bayern Munich final. But it's, again, that kind of heavy side of the draw. Whoever wins that side of the draw probably wins the Champions League, because the other side is looking relatively weak. And I think if City get past Real Madrid, I think they're favourites to win the Champions League. Simple as that. The side is purring at points this season in the last few weeks. And someone like Haaland, De Bruyne, they're getting ready. They're getting geared up for the next couple of months to finish strong. And that's where I think Arsenal, that's where I think maybe Bayern Munich, who are dragged out in this big title race that it looks like they're going to lose. They're going to be a little bit flat. Whereas I think City are ramping up momentum, ramping up energy for these kind of games. So I think City would get past Arsenal in the semi-final, then get into a final against one of 4 sides. Atletico Madrid versus Dortmund. It's interesting. Both sides aren't perfect. Both sides are kind of on the B list of the Champions League sides, with all due respect. Obviously, Atletico have got the experience of getting to a final with their manager. Their manager is world-class, in my opinion. The ugly side of the Champions League. They've got some quality in Griezmann, of course, but the way they did it against Inter Milan was hard, really, and it was challenging. No Italian side currently in the Champions League, which is a bit of a shame, really. And I think Inter, based on how well they're doing in Italian football, would be aggrieved by that. But I think Atletico will win that game, and they'll show their experience. I think whoever gets the Champions League final on the other side, I think they'd rather take PSG. I think they'd rather take Barcelona. I think they'd rather take Dortmund. Atletico Madrid, there's just something ugly, weird about them. And that's down to their manager. PSG versus Barcelona, not the tie it used to be, with Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Cavani and Zlatan at different periods of time. Even David Beckham played in this game when they've met before in the Champions League over 10 years ago now. Obviously, PSG are favourites. I think it's Barcelona's side are completely overrated. I know they've got a lot of young, exciting talent, but they're nowhere near the level they need to be to win the Champions League. On some level, Barcelona, this is a crying shame that I can even say this about a football club as great as Barcelona. I think they're doing well to get to this stage of the tournament based on their squad. I know it's ridiculous. I know they won the league last season, but they haven't got the quality of Bayern Munich. They haven't got the quality of Real Madrid. They don't. I think they'll lose to PSG. I think PSG get into a semi-final. Suddenly, it could be a PSG final at Wembley. That opens it up massively for PSG to win their first Champions League. Let me know in the comments down below if you think PSG will get through. I think it'll be PSG, Atletico Madrid in the semi-finals. And I think PSG might knock out Atletico Madrid. So it could be something like PSG, Man City, Champions League final at Wembley. Oh, huge. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for Man City, PSG, Champions League final. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Absolutely huge. Harry Kane's going to smash the living daylights out of Arsenal, and I love to see it.